How to read aloud. There are numerous situations in which you might find yourself needing to read aloud in front of a group. Maybe you have to read a book to a group of children, part of a white paper to your co-workers, or a scripture during a wedding ceremony. You might worry that your audience won't understand you or connect with your message, or that you'll make a mistake and embarrass yourself. You can relieve these worries by taking some time to prepare and rehearse your reading, practicing some speaking skills, and learning how to deal with any nerves. Doing so will help you become more at ease reading aloud. Part 1. Preparing to read aloud. 1. Underline keywords and phrases. Before you read aloud, go through the text, if possible, and mark any keywords or phrases. You'll want to emphasize these important spots so your audience can better understand your message. Some of the ways you can emphasize these words or phrases are to speak them slower, faster, softer, or louder. For example, if you're reading the word boom, you should increase your volume when you speak this word. However, the words sh, listen, may require you to say them in a soft voice for emphasis. Don't rely on being able to remember where you should vary the pace or volume in your reading. Make notes in your text that tell you when to do so and what type of emphasis to use. 2. Decide where to breathe. Figuring out where you should breathe is important in keeping continuity in your reading. You'll want to make sure you aren't constantly running out of breath in the middle of a sentence. Before reading your selection to the audience, go through your text and mark where the breaks in the phrases and sentences are. These places are where you should breathe. When you do take a breath, take one deep enough to allow you to continue reading comfortably until the next marked break. 3. Plan where you will pause. Deciding where to pause in the text provides emphasis and creates a dramatic effect. It also allows your listeners a chance to digest what you've just read and let your words sink in. Again, mark the places you will pause in your text to help yourself remember where to do this. Be sure you indicate which marks are for breaths and which are for pauses. Your pauses will be longer than simply taking a breath. 4. Watch others. It can help to watch others read aloud as an example of what to do. As you're watching them, note the things they do that make you take interest or that make it easier for you to understand the text. Keep a notepad handy so you can jot down notes while they are speaking. Look for videos of engaging speakers online. A quick internet search should come up with some good examples, like Martin Luther King Jr. or Apple CEO Steve Jobs. Study what they do and try to mimic it in your own speaking. 5. Practice. Before going in front of your audience, practice reading the text aloud in front of a mirror or some friends or family members. Not only will this help ease any nerves you have about reading aloud in front of others, but it will also give you a chance to get used to what you have to say. Being familiar with the text will make your presentation smoother and allow you to focus on doing the things that will help you connect with and engage your audience. Make sure you're practicing emphasizing the words and phrases you've marked, breathing at the appropriate times, and adding in any dramatic pauses you've identified. Part 2. Speaking clearly and audibly. 1. Pace yourself. When reading aloud, the speed at which you read can significantly affect your listeners' understanding and attention. Choose a pace that is not too fast or too slow. You should read slow enough that your listeners are able to understand everything you're saying and have enough time to process the information. However, you also want to keep the story moving and propelling forward so that listeners will not become bored. Nerves can cause you to speak faster than usual, even though it might not feel like you are. When you're in front of an audience, speak unusually slow, even if it feels a bit unnatural to you. Chances are you're talking faster than you think. When setting the pace, it is better to speak slower than faster. The audience will likely still pay attention if things are moving a little slow, but you may lose them completely by talking too fast. 2. Practice pronunciation. Mumbling or mispronouncing words can make it difficult for your audience to understand what you're saying. To improve your pronunciation, practice articulating certain sounds more emphatically through exercises. One thing you can do is highlight each word that ends in the letters T, D, P, B, K, or G, and practice over pronouncing them. Doing so will help you pronounce your words more clearly in your regular speech. Performing daily tongue twisters can also help you articulate your words more clearly. Some tongue twisters you can use are red, leather, yellow, leather, and 11 benevolent elephants. If there are words you constantly mispronounce, take some extra time learning how to properly say these words and practice until you get it right. 3. Warm up before you speak. On the day you will be speaking, keep your voice warmed and ready by singing or humming throughout the day. This will help ensure your voice is ready when you go to speak so you don't sound strained. You can also repeat tongue twisters throughout the day to relax your tongue and lips. Repeat the phrase "you see Oz" in an exaggerated manner to stretch your jaw and bring more flexibility to your tongue. 4. Drink water and avoid caffeine and fatty foods. What you eat and drink can affect how your voice sounds. Make sure you are drinking plenty of water, including a cup before and after you drink any caffeinated beverages. It is best to avoid caffeinated beverages altogether, if possible. Mints, nuts, and other fatty foods can cause heartburn or hoarseness in your voice, so avoid these when possible. Part 3. Connecting to your audience. 1. Make eye contact. Making eye contact with your audience can be tricky when you also have to read the words on a page. Doing so, however, will help you connect with your audience and engage them in what you are saying. When you're reading aloud, look at the page only briefly if you can, scanning ahead in the text. Then, raise your head and make eye contact with your listeners, repeating the words you've just scanned. Keep a finger on the last sentence you read to help you keep your place in the text. Make sure you sweep the audience when you make eye contact. Look at people in the front, middle, back, and each side of the room. If you have trouble remembering to do this, try making notes in your text to help remind you. Also, make eye contact with specific people. Whichever direction you're looking, lock eyes with one person while you deliver an entire sentence. This tactic can help you make a deeper connection with your audience. 2. Animate your voice. Listening to someone read in monotone is not only boring, but it may make it harder on your listeners to follow along and understand the main ideas of your story. When you're reading aloud, use inflection, which is where you stress certain words or phrases, and change the pitch, tone, and volume of your voice for effect. For example, when reading a story, speak in a higher tone during a really exciting part, and a lower tone of voice during parts that are more pensive or sad. If you're reading a story with several characters, give them each a different voice. This can be difficult, so decide what each character should sound like and practice their voices ahead of time. 3. Use appropriate facial expressions. While you're reading, remember to use facial expressions that support the text. You can use facial expressions to show shock, happiness, disappointment, concern, anger, or relief, and myriad other emotions. For example, smiling will let your audience know you believe in what you're reading. In turn, your audience will be more invested. If you're reading a passage where there is a surprising or startling event, show that surprise on your face by widening your eyes and opening your mouth. 4. Use body language. In addition to using body language to convey confidence in your message, like maintaining eye contact and smiling, you can also use body language to help convey the message you are trying to get across from your reading. Move your head, arms, and body in ways that reinforce your point. Make sure any body language you use is purposeful and deliberate. An example could be nodding your head up and down while you read a section of text you want the audience to agree with. Avoid body language that doesn't add to your reading. For example, involuntarily moving your hands while you read with no purpose behind it can be distracting to your audience. Part 4. Dealing with nerves. 1. Breathe. Doing a simple breathing exercise before you have to read aloud can help calm any nerves you have. Learning to control your breathing can help decrease your heart rate and blood pressure, and put your body in a relaxed, calm state. Try this breathing exercise to calm your nerves. Sit still with good posture somewhere comfortable. Close your eyes and start breathing in and out through your nose. Inhale for 1 count, hold the breath in for 1 count, and then exhale, counting to 4. Hold the breath out for 1 count. Set a timer for 5 minutes and practice this breathing pattern the whole time. You should notice a difference in your mood when you are done. 2. Focus on the people that are engaged. No matter the topic, you'll likely have a few people in the audience who don't agree with what you are saying, are bored, distracted, or maybe even asleep. Ignore these people. Instead, focus your attention on the people who are engaged with your reading. Focusing your attention on these people will help you feel more relaxed and confident. Look for people who are nodding their heads yes, sitting up straight, and making eye contact with you. 3. Turn nervousness into excitement. It's normal to feel nervous when you have to do something in front of a group of people. You may show signs of nervousness, like clammy hands, sweating, shaking, or butterflies in your stomach. When you start to feel nervous, however, try telling yourself, you're not nervous, you're excited. Convincing yourself you're excited, which can exhibit many of the same symptoms as nervousness, can help you relax and feel more confident. 4. Don't expect perfection. Despite the saying practice makes perfect, accepting ahead of time that you are going to make mistakes can help you deal with any nerves you're experiencing. No matter how much you practice, there's a good chance you'll fumble over a word or two somewhere during your reading. Public speaking is a common fear, so many of the people in the room will be understanding of any mistakes you make. If you do make a mistake, just keep going. For example, if you say the wrong word or skip a line of text, there's a good chance your audience didn't even notice. Unless the mistake will hinder your audience's understanding, keep moving as if nothing happened. Tips. Do your best to relax while you are reading. Being nervous can cause you to make mistakes. If there are certain things you do to calm down, try doing these things before reading aloud. Try different strategies until you find one that works for you. Remember, nobody expects you to be perfect. People generally understand that reading aloud is stressful and most will be understanding if you make a mistake. Stay hydrated. Drinking lots of water can help your voice from cracking or becoming strained, especially if you read aloud often.